Hey guys, it's Nemo and welcome to 2019. I hope you had a great Christmas and a great New Year. I certainly did. My little fellas, 4 and 2, they reckon that the magic of Christmas happens when you got kids. Anyway, this video wasn't going to come as early as it has, and I want to thank King and Dream from my clan for helping me out with this video. We did some testing on the PTS of the new AA mechanics for ships, and here you go. This is a full AA build Worcester which only manages to get 96 overall rating AA now. And the reason we're testing the Worcester, there's a Neptune that King's in because the Royal Navy have also got good AA, and the other ships that we tested in this were the Montana with different builds. So this full AA build here, the video might jump around a little bit. The original video was well over an hour long. We sat in the training room testing out as much as we could for you guys, the three of us, for well over an hour, and these are what we come up with. So what you're seeing here is a new sector reinforcement that you have on your ships now, on your surface vessels, where you change with the button, the O key, you can change the reinforcement to make your flak fire more effective for whatever side of the ship that you think the aircraft are going to come on. Now, yes, it throws out a lot of flak, but I think it's just an annoying thing. O is a really annoying key to get to. I mean, my hand pretty much sits above, WAD and then the shift key with my little finger, so I just play it there. So I might have to change that. In essence, I don't think too many people are going to end up using it. Here we have my AA going off with my full AA build and the defensive fire on, and you can see it's doing damage to the planes, but they're not getting destroyed that well. And if they get through, this is what... oh no, that wasn't what happened. So there, what happened was that Dream didn't pull out of the strike. What happens is with the new aircraft carriers, when you're flying the planes, if you just let the strike time out, it'll pull out and won't actually drop the bombs. But when they do drop, and even though I'm in the turn here, he gets a great hit. And look at that. This is from a midway. We did some testing. I did some testing on Tier 4 earlier on, and Tier 4 aircraft carriers are definitely death by 1,000 cuts. Tier 4 aircraft carriers don't have torpedo bombers anymore. They've only got rocket bombers, rocket fighters, and the dive bombers, so they don't have torpedoes anymore. Now, they can do... the Worcester with a full AA build does do a lot of AA damage. I mean, as you can see, I think that's 19 or so planes up there in the corner shot down. But aircraft carriers can't get deplaned anymore, and so it really is going to make it difficult. And the reason I'll show you how it will become difficult is later on in the video. We have a look how much your AA can be depleted and how weak you can actually become. So what we've done here, we've got the Neptune and the Worcester set up. What we're going to do is make sure that maximum AA is on the inside of us, and then Dream's going to fly the torpedo bombers right through the middle. We want to see what it is like when anti-air overlaps. And so even though you can see him dodging there through the flak, but because the anti-air is overlapped, it's still pretty heavy and it takes out all these planes. That was without defensive fire, which is unlucky for him. So it's going to be quite effective if you overlap and if you don't get hit. And by not getting hit, we'll show you later. So there's the full AA build of the Worcester. And it only gets to 96. Now I've got a clip later on to show my AA from my Worcester now, it's not even a full AA build, but its mid-range is something like 519 or something like that. It does a whopping amount of damage. So what we've gone here for, this build that I'm putting together now, is more like the build that I have on my current Worcester. I don't have a full AA build. I've got more of a AA with IFHE, so you can do a lot of damage with your IFHE on enemy ships, but what you want to do is not spend everything on the AA, because it's just a waste of time, I think, in today. And so there I just tried to click on the planes. You can't click on the planes anymore, so this is the little hybrid build we've got going that's not as powerful as the last one. So the anti-air is up, and see how it has hardly done any damage at all without the sector selected, without the full AA build at all. So this test here, so now I select a sector. This test here, we've got King in the Lion and Dream in the Midway, and the reason that I got the Lion in is that we the high explosive, we want to see what happens when you get your anti-air modules burnt down. How ineffective or effective will you be? So you can see we're still shooting down planes, but nowhere near as much as what we were shooting down before. And then I think the line pops up down here somewhere. And the reason we chose the line is because of the high explosive. So we wanted to run a couple of tier 9s and tier 10s, because that's usually what you'll be facing. You're not going to always face. I've never seen a game of World of Warships where you're facing just tier 10. So see down there, the mid-range and the short range is damaged. It's down to 75 and 69%, with only the attack from the rocket bombers hitting my AA. Now a full, not a full, the AA builds, whether it's full AA or this hybrid AA build I'm running, can only get the Worcester now out to 6.9 kilometers of AA range, whereas at the moment on 7.12, which is this patch we're in now, you can get it out to 8.6, and these planes would absolutely be melted by now if they were flying in my aura. And whoa, see all the bombs there. I think that's one cool thing I actually like about the new rework, is the visuals on the bombs and rockets. You actually see them coming in pretty well. And so here we are, I'm just firing away and King's firing at me. I'm still trying to do the whole dodge thing. I know that you're probably not going to play a Worcester as much open water. You play Worcester a bit of both, open water and island cover. Very effective if you can mix the both together. Now again, I'm trying to fill the sky with flak, but it's nowhere near as effective. Oh, thankfully that shot missed there. But for some reason, even though none of those shells just hit me then, it did take out my back gun. Now if you have a look at the stats here that come up, see how it's gone down to 83 for the gun. Now that's for long range. That's only because my rear turret is damaged. So on a Worcester and a Minotaur, for example, your long range AA is your main battery guns, so they're dual purpose guns. And the Seattle, I don't know if the Seattle's the same, but I definitely know that the Neptune is not the same. So, and there we go, like, I haven't taken that much fire. I've been brought down to half health, yes, but a lot of it's been fire splash damage. And have a look at my AA modules, and then when this flight comes in, even though the defensive AA has gone up, you can see little bits of damage being done to these planes, but it's just doing almost no damage at all. So that's another drop where he's just taken it over the top and let the drop run out so it doesn't fire. Now you can manual drop still, well, it's all manual drop, but you can drop without having to target a ship is what I mean by that. So if there's a ship in a smoke screen, you can still try to target him and see if you can get him there, just the same as what you do now. So I'm just trying to throw the ship around here as much as I can. Now that's all good in battle, try and throw the ship around to avoid getting hit, which is what I've done. But yeah, then you see the crossfire there from the line, and that's what's going to happen a lot, you know. And the AA is just absolutely destroyed now. So even though I've got it up a little bit, there's not many planes being shot down at all. There's hardly any flak in the air. It's just doing nothing now. And so if you have a full AA build, you may be able to do something well with your Worcester. But if you're going to run a hybrid build, then it's not going to work very well at all. Look at that, 8% on the mid-range. It's just, yeah, not very good. Anyway, we go and we set up the Montana here so you can see what builds I'm putting on there. Now that's the other thing that's going to change in the new patch, so 0.8, is that concealment is going to change. All ships now have a concealment on their captain skill of 10%. There's no 10% for destroyers, 12% for cruisers, 14% for battleships, and 16% for aircraft carriers. It's now just a base 10%. And the reason they changed that is that they don't want battleships to be, there will be some, but they don't want battleships to outspot cruisers and things like that. But things like the Conqueror and the Burgoyne, they will still outspot a lot of cruisers. And your aircraft also have a detection. So you can get your aircraft spotted. They have a certain detection rate, so you can put concealment on your planes. The other thing is, in this new patch coming out, is you cannot you can no longer fire AA through the mountains, which is something I think is pretty good. So it's all line of sight now, which is really handy. So here we're testing a full AA build, Montana, and then Dream is in a tank build, and then King's playing in the Hakiru. Now I think what happened there was King brought the bombers over the top of me, but then he recalled them, and as you recall the bombers, you can't, their surface ships can't fire at them, which is really strange. But as you can see, the hack has detected by aircraft, the hack can get these planes out very quickly, and she runs the AP bombers, whereas the Midway, as we were testing it, runs the normal bombers, like the HE bombs. And these bombs can just do so much damage. He gets me flush with this shot. Now I know I wasn't dodging around or anything, and it's all for testing so that you guys can see the effectiveness of the AA versus the aircraft here. And that's what I want to stress, that we're testing. We're testing the effectiveness of the AA. We're not actually testing out how much the CV can do damage or anything like that. So what I wanted to find out is a AA build going to be worth it in the new meta, the way that CVs are when they come out in 0.8. Now they say they're going to tweak them and change them around and balance them and things like that. I think at tier 4, for example, pretty well balanced. As I said, it's death by 1,000 cuts down there, whereas up in tier 10 you can do so much damage at tier 10. Your planes have got a lot better survivability. The AA is not going to do that much damage. You're not going to run out of planes. I mean, a full AA build Worcester we saw was just really good there. But if you're getting shot at and losing your modules as well as taking fire from the bombers here, then I don't think it's going to be really worth it that much. Now, I think it was Dream or King, one of them, when we were testing, was able to do a cross drop on me with one squadron of torpedo planes. So it's going to be quite scary, I think. And so here's the clip I told you about where my AA, this is my Worcester now. Have a look at that. A short range AA 110, mid range 519. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. And that's why no one wants to fly near a Worcester right now. That's a semi-AA build on the server now. So my conclusions for AA are that it's not really, unless you want to get AA medals like air defense medals, it's not really worth it. You're going to lose your modules so fast that your captain skills, you could put 7 captain skills into something else. I think, and King and Dream both agree that if you're going to run an AA ship, a really top AA ship now is likely to be the Smoke Minotaur, because then you can smoke up, you're not going to be seen as easy. Pilots are going to have to get used to dropping their bombs on you and torpedoes on you in this new meta, so I think that would be the way to do it. So my conclusions are, yeah, as I said, AA not going to be very good, but it's up to you guys. Anyway guys, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.